Hi everyone. Today we have of course, a very special guest, Anubhav, with us, right? So Anubhav was our student in the very first batch of AccioJob, which we had started long back in 2020, peak COVID. People figuring out what to do in this time. Where should I build a career? And that is where Anubhav joined AccioJob, and it's almost like 2.5 years now since we've caught up, and Anubhav has grown by leaps and bounds in those 2.5 years. And today we would want to take this opportunity to discuss Anubhav's entire experience. How's it going? And how does he look, and how much has his perspective changed from when he was a student trying to get into tech to now? How does he look as his career from a more long-term perspective, right? So yes, over to Anubhav. Anubhav, let's just start with कि सबसे पहले तो एक्यो में कब आए थे, कहाँ गए थे एक्यो से सबसे पहले, और उसके बाद के 2.5 years हमें जानने होंगे.
Okay, so when I joined Accio, तब थोड़ा experimental था, थोड़ा डर भी लगता था because it was the first batch. There was no proof that this works, and it sort of sounded like too good to be true. But then there was this guarantee key, you don't have to pay if you don't get placed, etc. That builds up some of the confidence. Okay, like even if it doesn't work out, at least I'll have gained some knowledge from the course. But yeah, then a few months passed by, I think 4 or 5 months like into the course, and I think Harsh was teaching us at that time, and like it was still a small batch, and both like intuitive teaching hoti thi and very industry relevant. Then during the last few months, we got into the placement season, and then I interviewed for a couple of companies, and then eventually I ended up at Sears. So Sears में आके first it was like quite, so because I was not from a computer science background, तो थोड़ा डर भी लगता था because you're still competing with people who have come there with 4 years already in college, who studied every day last 4 years computer science, and I am someone who has just done a 6-month coding bootcamp. But then,
what was your educational background also? You can talk a little bit about why did you decide to pursue coding?
Okay, yeah. So I did a bachelor's in science and physics, and why I decided to do coding was so I always aspired to do research in computational physics. So I already liked coding before I joined AccioJob, and I did meddle with some HTML, CSS, and like front end and all in school, and sometimes in college also. I did also do a internship, but nothing too complex. And then when the COVID scene hit, so this was a internal realization that if I want to go further in research and all, there is more abundant scope outside. And तब कोई clarity नहीं थी कि whether I would go outside or not, get into a good college outside of India or not. So I thought कि like I still need to get a job, need to make money, and like support my parents. So I just did it as a trial that let's see, maybe I like this because I already do like coding quite a lot. So that's how I got into like the IT world. And yeah, so what was I talking about? Pele?
You got into Sears, right? 5-6 months into the program, you interviewed with a few companies, got into Sears. Yes. Post Sears is what I am also very curious to know. How's it been?
Yeah, so as I was talking, I was saying ki, like at the starting, it was like people have come here with the bachelors, and like it was not like say like tier 2, tier 3 colleges. They were like quite good people, like from IITs and BITS and all. And it's sort of intimidating that you are competing with these people inside the company. You got the job, but you still have to perform, right? But like eventually, I figured out that we got a much more better education in like 4 or 5 months than they got in like 4 years in their college. And because whatever they study, it was still important, and I still use some of the, like I still miss out on some basics of computer science and all. But the most important stuff is industry relevance. Like how soon can you be like useful to the company in like projects and with clients? So I soon figured out that no one really does know exactly what they're doing, and everyone is still figuring out. So, but yeah, eventually I just had that like fast pace that I learned at AccioJob ki jaldi jaldi seekhna hai, and like you just need to get into projects and get your hands dirty, then only you can learn. And that mindset continued, and like just a year later, I was promoted to a senior software engineer in CS, uh, which 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 was a bit outside of company policies. It was an exception. So you generally need to do 18 to 24 months in a role to get to the next. But they made an exception, and only two people got that promotion that year. It was me and Prashant, and both of us were from AccioJob. So
Wow.
yeah. So and yeah, even the preceding year, we got I think Vyazi and Bharat, who were also from AccioJob into CS. And next year also Bharat was the one who got this exception and got promoted to a senior software engineer. So
Wow.
it's
So
it's
Accio alums are killing
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So that is how it has been, and you can't ignore the pattern that there has been. People come from Accio, and because we learn like you need to learn fast and implement stuff and get your hands dirty. This mindset only I think comes. Like, I didn't go to a BTech college, but I think it only comes when you go through a say extensive fast-paced course.
Correct.
So I
I think
think
there are
that will help.
two pointers here, we say, right? Students typically who are not coming from a so-called BTech computer science or BTech IT background, they always undermine themselves to some extent कि यार उन्होंने 4 साल में बहुत पढ़ाई किया है, हमने नहीं किया है. अरे आप ये सोचो कि यार कॉलेज में कौन कितना पढ़ता है. सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन ये. And we interact with so many BTech computer science students on a day-to-day basis who are almost like what they have bare minimum. The पहले 15 दिन जो हम कोर्स में पढ़ाते हैं शायद उतना उनको आता है पहले से. उसके आगे का उनके लिए भी सब everything is new. Because it's not like most of this industry relevant skills which we are teaching in Accio course are not really part of a BTech computer science curriculum also. मतलब फुल स्टैक और वेब डेव और ये सब तो होता ही नहीं है चलो, बट डीएसए होता भी है अगर तो वो डीएसए का दे आर जस्ट डूइंग अ थियोरेटिकल स्क्रैचिंग द सरफेस. वो कोई तुझसे प्रैक्टिस करा के दे आर नॉट रियली हेल्पिंग यू ओन दोस लॉजिक बिल्डिंग स्किल्स टू दैट एक्सटेंट, राइट? तो वो नहीं होता है. इसलिए थोड़ा सा एक चीज तो मुझे लगी हमेशा कि नॉन बीटेक सीएसआईटी फोक्स ऑलवेज अंडरमाइन कि यार हमने कुछ मिस कर दिया है और हम पीछे से कम्पीट कर रहे हैं. Of course, I think that is there to some extent. And second point, which is very true, right? Ki BTech computer science is not like it's not replaceable with like a just a 5 month boot camp, right? उसमें काफी कुछ है जो आपको बाद में जाके सीखना पड़ेगा, which I'm sure Anubhav now is learning on the job, etc. But what Accio course does for you is कि जो सबसे important चीजें आपको आनी ही चाहिए to become a deployable or a productive resource for the company, right? वो आप उस पे आप हो जाओगे up to date, right? Plus, I think what you're talking that there is a clear pattern, and I'm super happy to hear this, by the way, right? Because I think in the end, AccioJob बड़ी कंपनी तभी बनेगी जब हमारा alumni हमें represent कर रहा है अलग-अलग जगहों पे, और that is what we stand for, right? Like now, Sears comes to AccioJob because of how Anubhav and Yazi and Bharat and Prashant are performing. Right, so they also have spotted that pattern कि अच्छा Accio में ही आते. But I totally agree यार. I think Accio students are doing well there because they've gone through that grind for 6 months कि भाई घिसो, right, मेहनत करो, और discipline आ गया है. मतलब वो discipline आ गया है, और वो I think एक love for learning आ गया है to some extent, right? That कि कुछ भी pick करके सीख सकते हैं, और ऐसा नहीं है कि I'd shy away from something just from the outskirt. I'd be okay to jump in. Let's figure it out, right? So I think that mentality is super important. As a software developer, तुझे भी लगता होगा वैसे, now that you've become a senior software developer. तो सर आप बताओ थोड़ा और कि कैसा है, what is the work like, what are you currently working on, what do you think you did differently which led to the promotion?
Okay, so technical capabilities aside, I think like at least for so I am in a service-based company, but from like day one, I've worked on with product-based companies as deployed as an engineer there. So when you are working for a product, every timeline is as soon as possible. So so you, and definitely people. So I have seen a lot of people who come into jobs and then they get a task, and then their first instinct to reply to that is, I don't know how to do this. And the ultimate reality is you'll never win. Like eventually, as you progress in the job, every 5 to 6 days or something, you have to figure out something new, some new learning, and then only you will be able to like contribute to projects. Because there is no way you can learn everything. So this has been a like, happy realization for me that it was the same. So again, coming back to my training, it was the same. Like every few weeks, there was something new. There was something new to learn, and I think I got comfortable learning new things and getting myself into things that I'm uncomfortable with. And that proactiveness of learning, I think that is what resulted into a promotion, and not just pure, technical skills.
Correct.
Other thing. So in our AccioJob training, we were not just taught how to code. We were also taught how to speak, how to communicate, and like portray yourself better. So that is also something that has helped. सिर्फ काम नहीं करना है, you need to also show कि how you're putting value to that company, and then eventually they also realize, because they are looking at like 100 different people, and if you're not portraying what you're doing in a good well form, and like it usually gets unseen.
Correct.
That is the other thing.
Got it. Understood. And what are you working on? Talk a little more about like the kind of projects you have worked on, kind of exposure you've gotten. How's the learning experience been?
Okay, so starting from year one, it has been quite crazy. So we did learn a bit, like quite a bit of JavaScript, and that was what I was interviewed on and got into CS. So first few like 3 to 4 months, 5 months, I worked on a project with Google. It's now open source. Hardware Bridge, it's like migrating from one database to other database. It's sort of a tool inside the Google Cloud. So pehle to I worked on JavaScript, so I worked on front end there, and then the next project I worked on Apigee, which was completely new for me. So Apigee is an API gateway offering by Google, and I knew like absolutely zero before I got deployed to that project. And more interestingly, no one in my company also knew that thing. So I was sort of asked to learn it and also be the Spock for it, and also drive customer calls and everything. So yeah, so that was quite uncomfortable. But I think that is one, like that was a very good learning for me to like, grow on the job and like be comfortable with the discomfort. So
Right.
I worked on Apigee for quite a long time. I told them, kept telling them hire resources and all, and then and when the project ended, they finally had resources. so so I did work on Apigee quite a lot. I even like not just like writing code, but I also worked on their pre-sales teams and talking to new customers and bringing them in and teaching them, like sort of enabling them what Apigee actually does, how it's different from all of those things. But yeah, eventually they did hire some experienced folks, and I also had my motivations towards core technologies rather than tools. So Apigee is a tool. So I thought that I need to put more of my learning into core technologies, core coding, and applications. So those people took it on, and then the next project that I worked on was again on JavaScript. So I was now leading the project, and 4 people were working with me. 2 of them were Accio graduates, Lazi and Bharat.
Wow.
And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say the customer name, but it's a leading OTT platform of India. We worked on a tool for them. It was audience segmentation, how like try to do A/B testing with these things, some marketing stuff. So
Correct.
we made a tool for them. It was React and Node on TypeScript. That's so we worked on that for like. So again, that was also quite challenging because it got estimated as a deliverable for three months, but like when we started working on it, we realized that it will actually take 5 months. So, but we took it as a challenge that we need to complete it in 3 months, and we did. Like, and it was again a success. After that, I did again some pre-sales work for Apigee, and then finally, for the last 1 year, I was working with a Silicon Valley-based startup. called Picnic. It's a social media application. And I was working there as a backend engineer, working on the latest and the greatest technologies. So I was working on Golang, I was working on gRPC, HTTP 2.0, GraphQL, PubSub, Redis, Spanner, like very cutting edge stuff. So yeah, I learned like got quite a lot of experience on microservices in the last 1 year. And again, now
Hmm.
I'm working with the Australian fintech, and they're also it's a
Hmm.
migration project. So they're migrating from one cloud provider to the other cloud provider,
Hmm.
and
The other being
so
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Got it.
so
Understood. Yeah.
yeah,
बढ़िया काफी बढ़िया लगा सुन के आई थिंक ग्रेट जर्नी आई थिंक द हसल इज एविडेंट एंड दैट इज द रियल रीजन नॉट जस्ट एक्यो हसल किया है आई थिंक दैट ऑल ऑफ दैट एफर्ट इज सॉर्ट ऑफ रिफ्लेक्टिंग वेरी वेल परफेक्ट यार अनुभव सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन व्हिच आई हैड वाज कि अभी नाउ आई एम अज्यूमिंग दैट व्हेन यू वर अ स्टूडेंट द ओनली एंड सोल गोल वाज कि यार एक नौकरी मिल जाए चलो टेक में घुस जाते हैं कुछ मिल जाए नाउ दैट यू आर देयर यू अंडरस्टैंड द tech market and the entire hiring environment much better now, right? You're in a position where you understand what is valued more. How do engineers really create value in the first place? यही नहीं पता होता है, right, किसी को. And so now, how do you think about your career progression from here? What are the goals like going forward from here?
okay. So uh, I generally don't tend to make very long term goals. So I tend to make very short term goals. Like what do I need to do in the next 2 years?
Okay.
So okay, few goals that I have thought about is one, moving to another country, working outside of India and getting that work environment. I did get that experience when I was working in the social media company for the last year. So all of their so the startup was Silicon Valley based, but all of their engineers were from Eastern Europe. So Georgia, Belarus, Poland, and Bulgaria, and all those people. So I did really enjoy learning that culture and all of those things. So I would want to explore that more and work with people from more more diversity and different countries. So that is one goal. Other goal is now I have sort of been the pseudo lead of a lot of projects, but I want to get to a better leadership position where I can make much more important decisions for customers and all. So that is the other goal. Money wise, I think whatever like I wanted, it's like every year it gets fulfilled. So keeps years is completely happy uh, in that way. So I'm not really concerned any on those fields.
Correct. I think once you start realizing that I'm creating value, I'm skilled enough, you start realizing in the long term I'm going to make money. Right? It's not really about optimizing a lakh here or there per annum, etc. उससे कुछ होना नहीं है इतना कुछ. So I think once you get there, you start that realization comes कि ठीक है यार क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है, आध लाख ऊपर नीचे doesn't really matter in the long run. Correct, absolutely. Lovely यार, this is amazing. तो एक छोटा सा rapid fire कर लेते हैं. Right? A quick set of questions which I had. First word which comes to your mind when you think about AccioJob?
Fast.
Fast. Okay, nice. I'd say
Like,
that. Is that fast linked to shortcut?
uh, not exactly. It's not a shortcut. So it's not like you get very good in 6 months. It's like you get a lot of learning in 6 months. Like you need to. So if you work 8 hours a day for like 1 year, or let's say 20 days, and then you work like 16 hours a day for the half of the time, that is what AccioJob is. So it will get you to your goal faster, but you also need to work a lot for that.
Correct. It's a sprint. It's a sprint you run with
Yeah.
us. Perfect. Got it here. So, what has been the salary progression like? Ballpark numbers are okay. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm not sure I can talk about this, but okay, I'll say when I left Accio, it's twice now, but I'm in the same company.
Okay. Got it.
I didn't have to switch, but it's twice as what I left.
And you've how much time have you spent in years now? 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
2.5 years. You've managed to double it. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
In 2 years, I doubled it.
Okay, in 2 years only. Okay, got it. Which is the country which you would love to go if CS is sending you abroad, remote, like sending you on a client side project maybe? What is the country you would love to go?
Somewhere in Europe, probably like first preference is Netherlands, but there is not a lot of IT companies there, so UK would do. So Europe.
Got it. Understood. ठीक है यार. One advice for current AccioJob students and students who are just graduating from all sorts of folks coming in and joining AccioJob.
So I mean, listen to your trainer. That's that's the only advice I would give because they want the best for you and they know how because they've worked with a lot of students. They know how you get to a place like the fastest and the most optimal way. Sometimes it feels like like whatever this guy is saying, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but they do know what they're talking about, and they know how to get from A to B. So listen to them.
Perfect. Got it. Yeah. I think another question which I had was that if there is the most important trait or skill which you can acquire, not really a skill, I would say a trait or a quality which you can acquire to become a successful software developer, what would you say?
Proactiveness, without a
Proactiveness.
doubt. Proactiveness. It doesn't matter how smart you are or how technically capable you are. If you are just proactive to like push in a little bit, put in a bit more effort, or like get the things rolling, that will help you a lot. It doesn't matter how much you know. It matters how much you can do.
Got it. So how do you optimize for like learning quickly? Because like learning quickly is so much a part of the job which you are in because you are entering the software dev world with like limited knowledge, probably a very small subset of what you will encounter. In terms of problem statements, nahi aayega yaar. It will require all the problem statements you will be solving for will require some amount of figuring out for sure. Right. How do you optimize for like learning fast?
Uh, so read the documentation. Any new technology that you're learning. Read the documentation. Like have a quick look. If you don't understand anything, get a crash course. But the reading time, keep it as short as possible for you to gain some basic knowledge and get your hands dirty as soon as possible. Like make a POC, make a couple of projects or small projects or here and there. Implement it. You will definitely be much more comfortable using it. That's the fastest.
Perfect. One last question. So how many people did you refer to AccioJob till now?
At least 15, 20 people.
Okay, perfect. Who are these guys? These are like your college friends? These are like your what रिश्तेदार वगैरह क्या है?
So not college friends, like just friends, like people I've met. And so one more thing, like generally, I don't need to refer to AccioJob. They generally like look at me, what I'm doing, how well I'm doing, and all, and then they only ask how did you switch from physics to like working a good job in IT, and then it
Correct.
like naturally comes up in the conversation. So that's all.
Got it. Perfect. ठीक है यार, done है. One thing which you would want AccioJob to do better for our alumni. One, we've got an alumni community set up, which is we're trying to keep that more engaging and have some events on a fortnightly basis on it. Right. Apart from that, what do you think as alumni? How can we provide more value to you guys? Right. I'm assuming that with the community referrals और ये सब तुम लोग smart लोगों आपस में figure out करोगे ही जब भी जिसको जरूरत है. But apart from that, anything else? Any suggestions which you would have?
I would say offline events more because
Oh, okay.
online, no, you can't really get the level of networking that you get with offline events. So just get
Perfect.
people together. That's
Perfect.
that would help.
Amazing conversation with Anubhav, guys. I think very insightful. Super pleased to see his growth. Growth in terms of how he thinks now. Growth in terms of his, of course, career progression is very, very evident for everyone. And I think kudos to Sears also for giving this opportunity, the culture they have created, the kind of work they are able to see, and the kind of growth they are able to spurt for young folks, right, probably went in slightly underconfident or up they go, right? There's a massive difference leading projects, being the direct spot for clients, taking engagement meetings, client calls. Amazing to see this here. Like in the end, this is what like AccioJob represents, right? And that there's a lot of hustle which you've put in. Of course, we've put in as entrepreneurs to build this also, and this is the reward and gratification we get at the end of it. So it's very amazing to see all of this playing right in front of us. Of course, it's taken like 2 years to see that alumni coming out, alumni growing in their companies, their fields, and now in positions where they can genuinely call some, they have some skill authority in that field, and are people to look up to, and people who can sort of inspire a lot more current AccioJob students and probably potential upcoming AccioJob students as well, right? So thanks for taking out time, Anubhav. Great conversation. Loved every bit of it, and most importantly, super pleased to see the growth which you have witnessed. Right. So yeah, on that note, I think for all the viewers and all the students, feel free to sort of reach out to Anubhav also. All AccioJob students can hit Anubhav on LinkedIn, right? And his name is Anubhav Chakraborty. And fun fact, he studied from Baroda, which is where I'm from. And the first time when we were enrolling him into batch, I think someone was interviewing. I said, MSU पे कौन पढ़ा हुआ है? MSU physics पढ़ रहा है. अच्छा, ठीक है. And perfect, yeah. Also for all of you guys, if we'll come out with more such content, of course, our recent alumni, our old alumni, everyone comes and talks on the channel. So feel free to subscribe, like, share, comment anything you would like to ask Anubhav or me or AccioJob in general. Yeah, thank you so much.